Can't see who's here. I'm driving. I don't have glasses on, so I can't see up close without glasses. I see perfectly at far. Just give me some time for people to get in here. It snowed last night, but it's beautiful and sunny out now. So all of the snow is falling off the trees. So we're getting like bombarded as you drive down the street with big old wads of snow just falling off the tree limbs and the cables. That's how it works around here in Colorado. It snows and then it melts. It snows and then it melts. You can go snow skiing here in Colorado and then enjoy a bicycle ride and a dinner outside on the veranda all on the same day. In shorts. Back. Alrighty.
Take the next left onto East 8th Avenue.
So here's the beautiful part, right? Hey, by the way, all of those that were hating on my last video when I was ranting and raving because I was a little mad at the fact that, you know, the guy that's bringing the charges against me, who was also the sheriff, had also tampered with the evidence that was being used to exonerate me and to show that he was lying, and he went way out of his way to tamper with that evidence. And then for the other case, he went so far as to not just delete some comments, but delete the entire post, which was key evidence to the trial, because it was two different trials. So he tampered with the evidence of both trials. He makes a statement because his guilt is so much that he just cannot contain it. He has to say something in case anybody notices that he had tampered with it. Now we've even discovered even more things since we've had, because by the way, he was stupid enough to enter the tampered evidence into the discovery, folks. He entered the tampered evidence into the discovery. He failed. He absolutely failed. These guys are not smart enough for this. You see? This is why they try to shut everything down, right? This is why they try to shut us down. And all they've done in the process of trying to shut us down is that it's just gotten bigger and bigger because everybody gets to see.
Continue on East 8th Avenue for 3 miles.
Right? The bullshit. It's terrible. It's scary, actually. I'm actually, right now at this moment, I'm afraid for my life. Because their mistake is so blatant and obvious, and there is so much internal proof, like data, things which these stupid fuck these not so bright criminals, okay? These are things way beyond their what they can handle, right? But when it's brought out and separated and put before you in black and white, it will be astounding, right? And the saddest part about it is that the now current sheriff of Morgan County is just as guilty. He's part of this. It's not just Crone. It's Dave Martin. They all have sins and bones in these graveyards of theirs that they have to keep hidden. They cannot be exposed. Ooh wee. Scary. Okay, so everyone that was talking a little bit of doo-doo, hey, balance. The rantings of a crazy man, huh? Really? Here's the proof. We got the pudding. Hey. Just saying. Not only is it going to be change made, policy changes, law changes, justice will be served, right? Because I'll be exonerated in all of my charges, because the charge that I've been charged with, because they were trying so desperately not to have any litigation on this case, right? That was their only concern, right? Has now brought a major investigation into the judicial system of what's known as Morgan County. Oh, and that is why we do what we do. So, the evidence is already on its way. Because I left it in the other van. John was driving that one. But anyways, we have the actual evidence, right, that we can now dissect internally, data-wise, right, and further prove, like, we already have it, like, way beyond a reasonable doubt. Well, now we're going, and then some, right? Now we're going to the point where they're just going to have to say, stop, because it will be the equivalent of beating, for example, beating a boxer against the ring ropes, against the corner, while he's unconscious, and continue to beat him with the strength of Mike Tyson. That's what the scenario would be in a comparison that you could understand. Oh my God, Crone, did you make a mistake? Sheriff Dave Martin, great mistake you made also, okay? Not only were you the under-sheriff of all this ordeal, not only was all this evidence that was tampered with was included you in it, but you were actually one of the plaintiffs of the case. And not only were you the plaintiff, but you were also had access to and were able to tamper with the evidence so that you can convict me and exonerate yourself. If that isn't the dirtiest example of breaking the law by a law officer, right? I mean, next one after this would be murder, right? Because to tamper with the judicial system, to criminalize an innocent man who was exercising his rights, think of the effort that it took. Wait till we break it down. We're breaking it all down. We have it on video, and we're breaking it all down to make a video so that everybody in the world can see it, right? Most probably it'll be used as the evidentiary videos for this case. Yeah, this is going to the governor. This is going to be included with the Brittany Luton opiate addicted DA in charge. Well, she's not the DA. She was in charge of the 13th Judicial District prosecutors for Morgan County. She is the heifer that got busted with oxys, Oxycontin and all these opiates or whatever. She's being investigated. It was demanded that she be investigated by the governor of the state. So it's no joke. They thought that maybe they were gonna poof this one through and maybe sweep it on the rug. We haven't heard much about that investigation, but that investigation is now about to get real sweet. Because you see, That same woman is the same woman that would investigate Dave Martin and James Crone, the criminal pigs, which with every crime that they committed, she was the determining factor of whether it was a crime or not, or whether it was investigated or not. So she swept a lot under the rug. And all of a sudden I'm sure she wasn't involved in opiates just yesterday. Not from all the stories we've heard and we've documented so far. Because we have a lot of stories documented. We have names, we have witnesses. It's good. Oh my God, and the plot thickens, folks. The plot thickens. Ow! Scary stuff. Scary stuff. But if this is what I'm known for, to divulge these, these criminals, and to expose them and bring them out, can you guys write some letters for me about what's going on to some of the investigative reporters around here, so that way you guys can add your letters to ours. That way we can say what's going on here. A lot of people know this is a matter of public business. The FBI has got to investigate Crone. The new hashtag, folks, please spread it, is investigate Crone and Martin. Hashtag investigate Crone. Hashtag investigate Martin. Or hashtag investigate Morton County Sheriff's Office. I don't care. But we need to get all of those out there, right? So that they're everywhere. I'll spread them if you put them up. Very dirty, very scary. I'll be writing a motion. I am in fear for my life to enter Morgan County. I believe that law has been completely wiped out in Morgan County. I believe that there is no law or justice or safety in Morgan County. As high-ranking as the sheriffs and the judges and the prosecutors have altered evidence to be able to hide their sins and their transgressions, if you go into a place like that, God knows what can happen. I just posted a video on my channel of how Crone executed a man. Now let me make a disclaimer. That man was not a good man. Supposedly he had stabbed his I think it was like his cousin and somebody else to death. Okay. Uncle and cousin or something, something to that effect. There was two people within his family that he had egregiously attacked, I believe, with a knife, and maybe killed one or two of them. I didn't get the whole story. The guy was 31 years old, but when he was coming out of the car, when he was confronted by Crone, that's James Crone, he comes out of the car with no weapon but his cell phone and his hands out first and foremost, and he gets shot by Crone, and Crone knows he messes up, and he goes, God damn it, and he just begins to open fire because he knows that the last thing that he wants is that guy live, right? That would ruin his career, right? That would sue the fucking county forever, right? So they make sure they open fire. Dave Martin, which is now sheriff, was a part of that, and they assassinated that guy. So in other words, they became the Punishers, right? With the thin blue line, that skull with the thin blue line going through it. They became the Punishers, and they decided that they were going to be judge, jury, and executioners in that case, so that guy had no due process. He didn't go through a trial, especially not with a bullet hole in it, right? When he was coming out, with his hands up. So I put that up there so you guys can see the mentality. If you guys look at the articles that are pertaining to that case, you will see that they're very vague, okay? They just said he was there, they came out, he was confronted, he died, moving along, and that was it. There was no huge investigation into it, and I'm sure that if it was investigated by Brittany Luton, Okay, all these people conduct business in the same building. And there was a lot of ongoing federal lawsuits, civil litigation going on already when our arrest happened, when this assassination of that man happened, that execution happened, all of that, when all of these things were happening and all these accusations were coming up to the top, Eric Brandt was already suing Brush and the sheriff's office and Brittany Luton and everybody else. Okay, so the sheriff lied in my trial, and he had testimony that he had no idea until our arrest, when he arrested Eric and I for calling in names, basically. He said that he had no idea until that time that Eric Brandt was a protester or anything like that. He didn't know much about Eric Brandt. He had no idea. He had already been involved with Eric Brandt. He had already been involved with him for years in a lawsuit. Okay, during the video which he tampered and altered, it states that your lawyers want me to remove. Eric Brandt states, your lawyers want me to remove you from the lawsuit, but I will not remove you from the lawsuit, Crone. So he knew exactly who Eric Brandt was. They absolutely knew, and we have all of the proof in the video which we're putting together, that they absolutely knew that we were coming. They prepared for it. They prepared for it by stating that Eric Brandt can come in with his computer but not his cell phone, because they knew it was an issue with the cell phone. And they knew already that there was going to be an issue with the cell phone. And they were prepared for the charges that they were going to charge Eric with for his outburst when he blew his top about the fact that they weren't going to let him in with his cell phone. But they didn't add into the factor that I was going to be there with him. That this unknown dude was going to be there with him. So when I arrived, he and Regan arrived with me and my cameras, and they just weren't planning for that. I was the monkey wrench in their plan. So when I monkey wrenched that plan, they tried to fix their impromptu plan B to the situation. Was, we're going to tamper and alter this evidence so that we can obtain our illegal and corrupt end. Wow. Wow. If that doesn't scare you, and if that doesn't make you move, and if that doesn't make you believe in what we do, then nothing will. You're dead inside, and you don't know what freedom is. So stay tuned, because the plot thickens, and it's about to get sweeter, folks.